I am Master Rowena, and I came here to have a brief meeting with all of you. Of course, my energy is fully available for all of you to accept it into your being. So, this is a request that I bring forward to all of you. When we who are here on the spiritual plane come here to have this dialogue with all of you, you can begin to observe within yourselves what's the energy that is within you. How is each one of you feeling in a moment like this? There are beings who are in joy, there are beings who are withdrawn, there are beings who are observing us from a distance. Each one has a characteristic behavior. This makes you an individual. But what is the consciousness that an individual must have? This is what you must always have very clear in yourselves, because when you are in your daily life working on yourselves as individuals, you forget everything that has been put here. You forget the connection that must be established with us and with each other. Because the connection that is always required of you is that you connect with each other, not only here in this small group, but that you expand this consciousness to the whole humanity. And this you will only be able to do when you stop seeing differences, because this consciousness of difference still exists. And because you are always working on yourselves and on each other as individuals, you still cannot realize the consciousness of the whole. We always talk about this factor, because you don't observe this factor, how will you achieve God consciousness? You all consider yourselves to be fragments of God, and in this there is a belief that many times causes you regress. You regress harder than advance. Because when you consider yourself to be fragments of God, you are never whole, you are pieces. And because you have the consciousness of being a fragment of God, that's why you fragment your own energy, because you are always in fragment consciousness. And it is different when you have the consciousness of being God. Being God is a wholeness. Then you will work on yourself as a whole being. When you perform your energization, I will put it this way, you still perform it as a separate consciousness. When you align your chakras, you still perform it as a separate consciousness. And this, we say, is how you work on yourself as fragments. You should always note that regardless of each chakra you are working on yourself as a whole. You have some knowledge about a chakra because through this knowledge it brings you confidence. It brings you an indicator of how you are conducting energy work. But you must never think that you are energizing a chakra, that you are working only on that chakra. You are a whole being, and this must always be remembered. So, when you are working a chakra, you are working a specific factor, okay? But you are working that specific factor within a whole self that's each one of you. So, don't think that you, as you have studied bodies, are energetic bodies for this to be understandable. You have come to have consciousness, as if you were separate things. But you must always observe, you are a single being. Each one of you is a single being. And when you begin to work on yourselves as a single being, always with that consciousness, regardless of how you are working on yourselves, because many times as you are focused on correcting a certain characteristic, you will work in a certain way. You will work on a certain chakra for many times, but the awareness that you are whole beings can never be lost. Because when you go to work, you go to cleanse, When you realize what you have as a resource here today, which is the Quenin technique, you go and cleanse your 7 bodies. You are not seeing yourselves as a whole beings. You are in a mindset of cleansing body by body. But how is this reasoning? That's what I am bringing to your attention. Because when you are cleansing your bodies, you must have the consciousness that you are one being. So many people observe that when they do a practice or when they do another practice, they work on themselves as a being, for instance, an emotion being. So you work only on your emotion body as if you were only this emotion body. You can, if you feel the need to cleanse the emotion body, cleanse the emotion body, but with the awareness that you are one being, that you are a whole. So many times you are working on your projects. Each one is still working on a particular project. Yes, you are trying to pull your energies. But we observe that within each one of you there is a certain barrier because you are seeing in your pattern a difference. That's why your energies don't mesh. But when you are working in this way, like today, you all come together here to work as a group. Observe this fact. If you are seeing your partner, your friend, who is there working with you, if you are seeing in him a difference. And what does this difference mean? It is when you recognize in this other being an illusion. When you are working in groups, I observe that you sometimes do this, because working in a group does not only mean being physically together. Group work, speaking in a true way, is when you are connected energetically. Then you are working in a group. But today, you still have the consciousness that to work in a group, you have to be physically together. So, when you come here, come together physically to work, trying to form an energetic egregor so that all of you do reach a little bit higher energetic level. Observe within yourself if when you are doing this work, if you are looking at this member, these other members of your group, if you are seeing differences in them, whether you are recognizing the illusions. If you are working in this way, I say that your energy, it will never become one. Because one's energy is here, another's energy is here, you don't mesh, you don't make this resonance. This is why before any work, a preparation is necessary. It is necessary that each one of you dives inside yourself, in the now, and silences your being. Because only in the silence of your being will you not see these illusions. So, if you are seeing the illusions, stop. Take your time. Stop. Silence your being. And from there, work in your energetic connections. And in this way, everyone who sets out to do this will begin to work in unity. And today, working in unity, I tell you, is the goal for all of you. Because when you wish to become points of light, to become energetic conductors, you must all be working in unity. Because if you don't recognize this oneness, there is no way to be an energetic conductor. So I, Master Rowena, ask you to make this change on behavior. We know that the silencing of self is always asked of you, but it has not been achieved yet. And if you don't strive to reach that level, then you will always be living in illusions, always seeing differences. And when you see differences, you will not reach the level of energetic conductors. With this guidance, with much gratitude, I say goodbye. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.